Albania was, for decades, one of the most heavily armed countries in the world. Throughout the Cold War, the communist state was preparing for a war, which never happened. Nearly 175,000 bunkers were built across the country, but none of them ever saw any combat. Instead, today, most have been converted into hostels, homes, and museums. Katarina Petrovic went to Tirana to see how the bunkers have found a new purpose.
Enver Hoxha's 4 decades-long dictatorship brought Albania into a state of decades-long isolation and contributed to the nation's invisibility. The former prime minister wielded unfettered power and in the 70s implemented bizarre ideas spawned largely out of paranoia, with the strangest one being the bunkerization project.
Using this idea of the bunkers, a regime here have it mostly from Vietnam. They love the idea how the guerrilla war was destroying a big power such as the United States.
And that man knew very well how to tighten the chains for Albanians, which was catastrophic.
During his reign, Enver Hoxha built about 175,000 bunkers all over Albania, and it turned out that they were built for a war that never happened against an enemy that never appeared.
The bunker is also a social phenomenon, a social, let's say, stigma. And what is important to say is that the idea of building bunkers came as a result of a political system which kept Albania for 45 years, almost half a century, closed, isolated.
Hoxha's program resulted in the construction of bunkers in every corner of the then People's Socialist Republic of Albania, ranging from mountain passes to city streets. They were never used for their intended purpose during his time in office. Built out of concrete, steel and iron, the bunkers ate up great amounts of money which could have been used for roads, schools and housing.
It is estimated that one small mushroom bunkers, it was cost nearly, would say, 135,000 leks in those years, which exactly the cost that you need to build for an apartment.
Essentially, these bunkers' function was extremely psychological. The public had to be convinced that the enemy was always lurking, that he was close, and that the attack was possible at any moment. It was a significant propaganda tool and was used to persuade everyday people that all the shortcomings in their standard of living was due to an outside threat. All this went by mostly unnoticed in the Western world. After World War II, the outsiders saw Albania as a negligent and insignificant country in a location that was hard to define. The bunkers were abandoned after the collapse of communism in the early 1990s. Nowadays, depending on the area and the location, these bunkers have various purposes. Some are demolished, partially abandoned, and partially turned into auxiliary facilities. In the rural areas, they are used as storage rooms, poultry farms, as well as cafes and hostels. Sajmir Kristo is the founder of the architectural funds in Albania and was part of the academic group which was involved in transforming a bunker into a bed and breakfast business.
It was, of course, a very complex situation because as we changed from a closed system into a system which, let's say, manifests the free economy market. Also, we have a big gap from the former dictatorial system of Hoxha, where in 1960s all the private property was taken by the state. And I'm very sad to learn bunker inside, which we transformed, was used as a barn for the owner to put his tools, while 1 month ago, or maybe 2 months ago, was burnt.
Post-communist Albania remains one of Europe's poorest countries. It's said that every family now has a member living abroad. The city of Kukes is in Albania's poorest area, despite its mineral riches and beautiful mountain scenery. Most of the young people emigrate from here, making Kukes the country's fastest disappearing town.
This is a problem here because all the young people, they are leaving. So who is going to stay here in Kukes or in Albania? if they all go.
Edis is a youth worker in a local organization trying to change the mindset of the young people, hoping they would stay.
They don't have hope that it's going to be better here in Kukes because they think that here they will not have the opportunity to work, they will not have a good wage, they will not have meritocracy, because most of the times the people who studies, who are finishing universities, they don't get a job here in Kukes.
Etleva is an architect and a professor who has taken interest in helping the Kukes municipality research on how to boost the economy.
It is a whole city constructed 30 meters lower level of the city, existent one. It is connected with some important buildings that are in the city now, like for example banks, municipality, hospital.
The bunkers in Kukes in northeastern Albania are exquisite.
This whole area used to be one big army base full of barracks, and the entrances to the bunker used to be hidden away to the public all the way up until 2009 when Albania joined NATO.
It's a whole underground network of tunnels extending for up to 7 kilometers, dug from the 1970s to the early 1990s. They were meant to house the town's entire population of 16,000 for up to 6 months in case of war. The local authorities hope to turn them into a tourist attraction. I went to see it with Afrim, who takes care of a small part of the tunnels.
We have lack of information because we don't have publications referring to them, and then some of the informations are very secret because the Ministry of the Defense and this information are not public.
Once a state secret, some of these Albanian bunkers are now museums.
Katarina, mirë se erdhe në bunkar të 1. Bunkeri i cili u ndërtua në kohën e komunizmit, që pati një investim shumë të madh nga sistemi i asaj kohe, nuk u shfrytëzua asnjëherë, sepse nuk pati luftë.
Every time that I see it, they are so ugly, I can say it, because they don't represent nothing. They represent only the communism.
No one was condemned in this country for the crimes they did in communism. And now, for example, we have in power a Tirana, who is a socialist, and socialist is ex-communist party because they changed name in the 90s, become socialist party. Tirana now is in power.
Should we revitalize them and put them in function? Yes, probably. There is so much space to take advantage of. Not make a story in terms of a theme park or a Luna Park in the city to commemorate that period or glorify it. No, not at all.
We didn't face our past. And imagine a country who didn't done any justice, who want to build a future. We don't have a future when we have a lot of crimes have not been condemned by the today.
Until 1992, communist leaders in Albania were in constant conflict with upper-class landowners as well as middle-class professionals, the clergy and intellectuals. Since then, the country's economic reconstruction has seen many ups and downs. Workers emigrated to nearby countries, leaving fewer people to rebuild Albania. With a history of class struggle that vilified entrepreneurship and capitalism, combined with the corruption-plagued government in power today, many Albanians have a grim outlook towards the future.
Thanks for watching this episode of Across the Balkans. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.